How you doing?
Good. I'm Brent from B&H. David Bromley sent me over. Was this box for you?
Brommer sent this?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Oh my gosh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Whoa, man, I'll take a bite. Come on in, come on in.
Cool.
I'll check this out. Look, this is some box from B&H. Who wouldn't want one of these? Oh boy, here we go. See what Bromer's got up his sleeve. Up! Yeah, of course. He's a squawker, so he had to write to me. I knew it. He just had to write something. What is this? What is this? Okay. Hey, Peter. So you think you can make a great headshot with entry-level gear? I did not say that, did I? Of course I can, but I didn't. Listen to him. What can you do? Well, let's see what you've got in this box for Canon's new entry-level mirrorless camera, the M50, with a kit zoom lens and a couple of $99 Generay lights. Much like Sparta, in New York City, we hold the messenger responsible for the message. Really? Oh, so you can shoot Brent's headshot.
Wait, what?
You're in, you're my subject.
Okay. Cool.
He had to give me a challenge. That was the situation.
Thanks so much, Peter.
Let's see you Shabang a basic headshot. All right, so what's he got in here? He said he's got an M50. He's serious. Brand new M50. Shebanging. All right, I like that. I like that. And this sucker, a Generay. What do you mean? He said I had two lights. He only gave me one? How am I supposed to? Oh, he's gonna even make it more challenging. Great, I got one light.
We're doing one light.
All right, let's see what we can do. Well, here we go. Canon M50. Got to make something happen with this bad boy. All right, this is exciting stuff. All right, we got a body. We got it's a little tiny little sucker. All right, nice little lens here. Let's see. Looks like it's a 15 to 45. That's interesting. And interesting little sensor. I have never shot this camera, so this is going to be interesting. Let's turn this bad boy on, figure out how it all works. Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Okay, so you unlock the lens to start shooting. That's kind of cool. 15 to 45. So I usually, this is a crop sensor, so I'm going to probably shoot a headshot at 45. Brent, where are you? Come on, man. Let's see. Let me look at your features. And then we got this light, you know. So we got one light, which we can fiddle with, but you know what? I just want to see how this sucker plays with you with natural light. Let's just play around with some natural light. I can talk directly to the camera, right?
Yeah, totally.
All right, guys. So this is the deal. I've never shot this thing. I'm excited to shoot it. It's an awesome little camera as far as I can tell from here. But we're going to see how it performs. So I'm going to go aperture ISO shutter speed. Since we got this one light, I know that's not going to really give the look to what I want to do. I will shoot it, and I'll show you how to do it with one light. We'll try that, and then we'll use, you know, my standard lighting that I usually use in a minute. But we got such awesome natural light coming in the studio. One of my quotes is never underestimate the power of natural light. I started as a natural light shooter. I'm going to shoot Brent in natural light with this thing and see how it goes. I put it on manual and it automatically put some settings in here that look really good. It's got auto ISO on, so it's definitely figuring all that out, which makes life really easy. But I'm gonna say he's not gonna move much as a human. So shutter speed, since I'm gonna hand hold this, I'm usually on a tripod. I'm gonna hand hold that. I'm gonna be about 1/125th of a second, which is what it's actually at right now. It's at f6.3, so I want to see if I can open that up. Let's stay at 1/125th, and 6.3 is actually where it is at 45 millimeters, which I just went all the way as long as I could because I want to make sure the compression's right for his face, and I like shooting at 92 millimeters on a full frame, around 92, 85 to 105 on a full frame. So I'm going to max this sucker out so I don't get too much distortion of the face, and we're going to look at that. So we're going to be f6.3, and then it's on auto ISO. So I could keep it there. The good thing is that it's got the electronic viewfinder behind. I mean, I'm looking at it and it's setting me up for the exposure. So it makes it really easy. I can keep it, I'm just gonna keep it on auto ISO. I think it's looking good, and if it doesn't and I wanna fine tune it, then I'll fine tune the ISO, because I can't go wider on the aperture. I'm at 6.3, which is funny enough, that used to be my nickname because I always shot at 6.3. People called me 6.3, so it's interesting that that's where we're at. 1/125th is pretty good. So if you're photographing humans and I photograph people standing, I'm usually on a tripod. I used to shoot 1/60th of a second, you're gonna get blur. 1/80th of a second, you're gonna get some blur. 1/100th, as you start to dial it in, right? On a tripod, 1/100th of a second you can get away with. This human can still move a little bit. 1/125th, I think you're pretty good. Since I'm hand holding, the camera's not very heavy, it's a really light little one. Hand holding at 1/125th, I think I'm good, so I'm gonna keep it there. And then I'm just gonna work with the lowest ISO that makes that all fit into range. Really simple. You guys can do this at home, and I'm gonna show you natural light. We're gonna just put one of my V-flats up and see what we can do with you.
Cool.
All right, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. All right, man, here we go. Are you mentally prepared?
As I can be.
All right, good. First things first, I'm gonna take a gander on you. This jacket, I like the jacket, but I just want to close it a little bit. Stand up straight, lean back slightly. Yeah, stand up real straight like that. I like that collar. You're gonna jam your forehead forward towards me like that. When I shoot you, don't worry about it for now. And then we'll take a look and we'll see what we get here. Guys, I started my career on a white background. This is a white V-flat. This is exactly how I started my career. I was sitting on a windowsill with the light behind me. We've got a nice bounce we've got north light with a nice bounce from a building over there that just happens to be 18% gray. It does, right? That's awesome. Isn't that cool? So we got beautiful light on Brent right now, and we've got a Canon M50 that is at 45 millimeters on their kit lens, and it's at 1/125th of a second, f6.3. I've got it on an auto ISO just to see what it does, and I will tell you what that number is. I guessed it was gonna be around 400 with this light, but I believe when I pointed it in your general direction, it put it at 640. So I like shooting at about the collarbone height with the camera height, so it's actually perfect for me with his height for me to sit, which is more comfortable for me. Usually I'm on a tripod, but we're gonna hand hold for now. And you're gonna stand up straight, you're gonna lean back slightly, you're gonna jam your chin out and down, but don't lean your shoulders forward. Lean your shoulders back, slouch your shoulders a little bit, get that chin out, yeah, and down, right there. Hold that. Corners of the mouth will go towards the earlobe, so I have a hint of a smile would be nice. I'll take it. Good. And I took a shot, and we will look at it. And that's not half bad. I would say that because I took it and I know my work, I would say I could open up I could probably open up a little bit to get the skin tone to come up a little bit. So I'll go to what's the ISO rating on this? It is at 400 now. So I actually do want to go 640. So I'm going to go 640 on the ISO on my own. And I'm going to take another shot. I want the exposure perfect. The camera's actually doing a bunch of stuff for me, which is great. I had it on auto ISO, it was helping me 1/125th of a second because I'm hand holding and he's not moving much. We're not worried about shutter speed. f6.3 is the widest it can go at 45 millimeters. I think the longest lens is great. I think the distance between me and Brent is perfect because I'm not too far from him. I'm not encroaching on his space. We're good like that. And the camera's on auto white balance. It's got this fancy schmancy focus on the eye thing that I love. That's just like been insane for me because I'm wearing these. You'll see me flip them up like this. And the camera's actually doing a lot of work for me right now. So let me see, I went to 640. Now that's gonna change depending upon the cloud. There's not a cloud in the sky, so we should have pretty consistent light actually. Hold that, jam your forehead out, chin down. That's it, less misery would be nice. There you go, good. So a couple shots there, it opened up a little bit for me. And now I've got a little bit more exposure. It's more in the liking of what I do. I think the auto white balance is probably going to give us a good starting point, but I usually work in my computer and bring the raw. I always shoot raw, guys. I set this on raw. The only things that I changed on here was I changed it to raw. The one thing that I would like to do is maybe put a grid on. I like to shoot with the grid. I'm not going to do it now, but I did change it to a raw setting from a JPEG, and I like to work in raw because then I can really have control over my color once we get over to my computer. We're probably gonna shoot, maybe we can try shooting to see if this bad boy will shoot tethered as well. Sure. So I always start shooting my subjects straight on the way that I am with Brent. The other thing I like to do is check out different angles of their face. So go nose a little bit this way. Hold that. Look back at me though. Don't turn your body though. You can turn the body straight to me. Turn straight to me. Just your nose. Yeah, but your eyes to me. Yeah, there you go. Good. Let's see that side of you. That's not so bad. Can you give me some brow pressure, a little bit of brow pressure? Yeah, like that. Now, keep the body straight to me. Lean back slightly. Jam that forehead out. Like that. Now go nose this way. Follow my hand. There you go. Tilt the head a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Hold that, and I'll move them over. And so now what I'm doing is I'm moving around. So what you want to do when you're photographing a headshot of somebody, you want to be the expert. Brent, correct me if I'm wrong. You can't see your face right now.
No.
I know what his face looks like. You got to be the expert. You got to tell people things to do. Hold that smile. I'll take that. There you go. Yeah, that's nice. There you go. I want him to have a good time in there. I might joke with him a little bit. You have to use your personality to joke with them. This actually is getting me really nice shots. I love the white background, the cleanliness of it, and the light's really flat and even. You could build a whole business around this. I always say, never underestimate the power of natural light. Here it is right here. You guys, I'm so excited that I started the first 4 years of my career doing exactly what you're seeing right now. So to show it 20 years later or whatever it's been with this system and making sure that this could actually be a commercially viable headshot for Brent and you can make a living at doing something just like this. But since Bromer gave me a challenge and he gave me the Generay and he only gave me one, we're gonna mess with that too. What do we got to lose? Let's fool around and see what we can get. And then we're gonna bring in the way I currently shoot and we'll show you that as well. All right guys, so I shot Brent in the natural light, which was pretty simple, pretty easy, and you should definitely try that. Find a big window, get a beautiful day, get some light in there, and if you're shooting southern facing and you get direct sunlight, put a white sheet over it to diffuse it a little bit. You'll get beautiful light, and if you have some foam core, some V-flats to put around, you even get a really nice bounce. But I was told that I have to use this Generay operation, and I was supposed to have two of them, but I only have one of them. So we're in my studio, we're on my white cyc, we're gonna use the white wall as our background. Now, if you know anything about photography, which I did not know this, but it took me a long time to learn, there's this thing called the inverse square law. So the closer I get the light to him, the more it's gonna create shadows on the other side of his face. It's also gonna soften it up a little bit. This doesn't have any diffusion on it, so it's probably a pretty harsh light. And it's small, and I'm taking a headshot, so I wanna get that thing really up in there. Now, when that happens, I'm gonna expose for this light the exposure on his face so that the highlight, I expose for highlights on faces. What's the back wall gonna do? Even though it's white, guess what? I guarantee that sucker's gonna go gray because I'm not gonna light it separately. However, we might get it a little bit of a light gray because I'm gonna cheat a little bit. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do what I usually like to do, and I don't know the color temperature on this bad boy, so we might get some contamination of light. But I'm gonna mix the natural light coming in the beautiful windows with this thing, and we're gonna see if we can get a nice headshot out of it, and in a really inexpensive way with a great camera from Canon and a Generay $99 light. So let's give it a shot. So let's look at power first. We obviously got the genetics of this guy, so we're all good there. And if I pop this sucker to full power, it looks very harsh to me. I would definitely like to diffuse it, which means instead of me diffusing, he's a little shiny too. What's going on with you? You know, it's okay. It's all right. I also want to mix it with the natural light. So what I'm finding is that the color balance is different. I see a greenish hue coming from the natural light and a cooler tone, and I see a This is a very kind of, it's cool, but it's magenta compared to the window. The window's very green, but I'm gonna get the light closer. The closer I get it, the softer it'll be. Now, the closer I get it, the more powerful it's gonna be. So I've got a little dimmer on here that I'm gonna try and mix. I'm gonna give him a nice kick on his cheek from the window light, and I'm gonna soften this light up a little bit, and I might change the height of it as well. So what I'm looking at, let me just put this camera down for a second. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at what it's gonna do for the shadowing on this side of the nose. So I'm gonna bring this a little bit, I've got a little nifty little tether tools operation on here, so I can manipulate the light and I can put it almost anywhere I want. And I'm gonna try that. So I usually would put my key like on this angle and something like this. I usually also key left. However, the right side of you might be a righty facially. Go nose this way, tilt the head this way. That's very nice, that's attractive. Go this way. That's a very handsome spot for you. That doesn't help us if I'm keyed this way because you want the nose to go towards the key. Like go nose toward the key. You're not bad over there either. I can work with both the angles. He might be ambifacial, guys. We're gonna find out. I made that up. There's a quote I love for lighting. You'll hear me say it over and over and over again. It's from Walt Whitman. Point your nose always towards the sunshine, let the shadows fall behind you. So the nose should go towards the key, which is actually giving him a nice kick from the daylight coming in. But this is the ratio between the two sources is what I'm worried about. So I'm gonna bring this down and I'm gonna try and keep you just like that. Now look at me with your eyes. Yeah, just like that, stay right there. So the ratio between these two is pretty good. I want the kick on the cheek from the natural light to have some juice. And I wanna soften this up. So the closer I get it, the softer it will be. Tilt your head slightly this way, follow me. Yeah, like that, a little bit less, right there. That helps the kick run up, right there, hold it right there. Right like that. Now I know from shooting him previously in the natural light, he was closer to light, that I'm gonna have to be higher than 640 ISO on this. So we can try the same settings, but I'm gonna beef it up a little bit. I think I'm gonna go, let's try 1000 ISO. Yeah, that's where I wanna be. All right, hold that right there. Chin down slightly. Good, hold that right there. Let me try this. Just a hint of a smile, hint of a smile. Chin down, forehead out a little bit. Yep. Good. Just without moving your feet, get your knees together. Good, good. I just say stuff to people to make them laugh, just to get a little rise out of them. Need a little rise out of your subjects, people. All right, so we've got an issue that came up, which is exactly what I said. There's more magenta coming out of this light than there is out of the daylight. So if you look at that, the background went gray, the magenta's there. We'd have to do a little work on this in Capture One potentially to get it to work, but the ratios are good. You see the ratios? Yeah. Ratios are really good. So I think we're on to something. I mean, we're pretty good, guys. I'm pretty happy with that. That's not too shabby, right?
No, not at all.
That's not too shabby. Let's try one where your nose goes towards the daylight, and maybe we can lose it a little bit. I like the kick on the cheek better. It's just still, there's no color temperature available for me on this. So what I would probably do is I'd probably gel this, I'd actually put a green gel over it to get rid of the magenta. It's so heavily magenta compared to the daylight. So it's very, tilt head this way a little bit, that's it. And there's no control over that. So keep your wits about you and hit your bang. You have one hair that's fussy. There you go, good. Try and stand up very straight, jam your fore out to me. Turn your hips slightly towards the Canadian border. Good, and nose that way a little bit. And then tilt the head this way a little bit. Eyes to me. Squint your eyes and then give me a little brow pressure. Little brow pressure, hint of a smile. There you go. Closed mouth, tiny smile. There you go, good. Guys, the thing about this that's amazing, this eye detect is picking up everything I need. I actually want your body to go toward the windows. Turn your body toward the windows, but too much, half the distance. Don't stand up straight, lean back slightly, chin down. We got something here, hold that, keep that smile. I need a hint of a smile. You don't want this for your personal brand. You're gonna throw this on LinkedIn, you don't wanna look miserable. There you go, good, good. All right, good. I think we got some good ones there, guys. So I'm working with the one light, I'm mixing the natural light, and we've got a color shift that we can take care of. There's a program that you can put it into, which I could put into Capture One and start to fiddle with that. But if you want to isolate it, you got to get it into Photoshop. I'm not big on over retouching my images. Be careful. I know you guys are messing around too much with it. You're making people look plastic and unhuman, and stop it. Stop doing that. I don't want to see it, right? So all we're going to do is work on color with him. Maybe clean him up a little bit, but I don't think he needs much, and we're on our way. And we've got probably a wonderful file, which we're going to look at in my computer right now. Guys, so now what we're gonna do, this is so cool. So we got the M50, we shot it with the Generay light. We're gonna utilize the setup that I actually shoot, which is the Canon EOS R5 with a Westcott Peter Hurley, believe it or not, Cineflex kit it's called. So this is my Cineflex kit behind me. We're gonna bring it out. This is actually the Pro DMX kit that I've got here, which we now have one called a Studio Cine kit, which is the new one, which comes in the same configuration with two 1x3s and one 1x2. So I like doing a triangle setup. So I do a triangle setup. It's actually beauty light. I usually use that for women, and I shoot men's lighting. I do a key, a fill, and a kick. So I'm conflicted as to whether I should shoot Brent with the key, fill, kick, or if I should shoot him with the triangle. I think we had pretty flat light. Maybe I try to emulate the same shot with, well, the daylight one actually would be this triangle. So we're gonna do this. This is when I moved into a studio, I didn't have any lights, so I set up this triangle configuration. I figured this out way back when I started shooting it. I moved into my first studio in 2004, and I didn't have a window. So I went from a natural light shooter to no windows. So it was a mess. So I had to figure this out, and I basically wanted the light to be like a window was behind me, but they had to be in front of me. So I condensed them as close as possible. I started out with a square, and then I thought, I like the triangle configuration. It gets rid of one whole light. I need one less light, and I like the catch light better with the triangle, although my catch lights are a little funky, but they're cool. And but the light on the face is really important. And it really is a game of inches with light. So I'm gonna get Brent in there, and I'm gonna fine tune it. We're gonna take a shot, and we're gonna compare the EOS R5, which is my baby over here. I just love it. Ever since I've had it, I've been like, I haven't put it down. I'm gonna shoot with Canon's 85 1.2 DS lens. That's a defocus smoothing lens. It's a beautiful lens, really nice. And like I said before, I like people to shoot in a range of 85 to 105 on a full frame sensor. So actually that 45 looked pretty good on the M50 though, but that's a crop sensor. So you can shoot, you know, at a shorter focal length, obviously, for that. And that kit lens performed really well. But now we're going Mac Daddy on you. We're going EOS R5, 85 1.2 DS, and with a Peter Hurley Cineflex kit from Westcott, we're gonna be in business. I'm gonna power these guys up, show you what I got, and adjust the settings a little bit and do a build, and then take some shots of Brent looking good in my light. So I will do, I'm gonna keep them where they are. I like to be Kelvin temperature. I also have a bicolor setting on this. As you'll notice with the Generay, we didn't have the ability to adjust it, so it came out really magenta and reddish. So we have the ability to adjust these. There is some natural light in the room, which I'm gonna have more juice in these lights so I can overpower the natural light, although I don't mind natural light coming in, because since these are bicolor, I can match it. And daylight around 5600 matches the window light pretty darn well. So I'm gonna go 5600 on this one, and I'm also going to be at around, we were at 20, so I'm gonna go, the bottom light, using inverse square law, should be a little bit further from his face. So I'm at 20 on this one. I'm gonna go 20 on this one. just so you guys know exactly what I'm doing. 20 on this one, 30 on the bottom, a little more juice coming up. You got to be careful of uplighting. And 20 on this one at 5600. They're all at 5600 on the color. So that's pretty much the configuration. Now you may notice that this triangle is not quite it's not an isosceles triangle. This I call tent lighting, when the triangle's like a actual triangle. And to me, I really don't like it. I can't stand it. It doesn't get the light in the eyes, and it doesn't get light in this area. It's just not, it doesn't work for me at all. What I found was I really need to play with this top light to get light in the eyes, and that's done through feathering and condensing this triangle as tight as possible. So that's really the way I do it. If you look at my technique, which is amazing and really works and has made me very successful over the years. And I coach globally through the Headshot Crew, and I have this recipe that I give everybody. And there's tons of photographers globally shooting this because this recipe it just works real well, and you're gonna see it with Brent. So Brent, bring your good looks over here and let's see what we got. All right, guys, here we go. Wait, look what I got here now. Oh my gosh, I'm going EOS R5 1.2 Flex kit setup in my standard triangle, which is a staple in my work. I do it every single day. So stay right there, stand up straight, do the lean back thing. You already got the chin out. See, he's learning. Humans have the capacity to learn. He's one of them. It's good. Hold that smile, I'll take it. There you go, good, very nice. So I have decided, so these lights are set up in configuration of the triangle, and the power settings are 20% on the two on top and 30% on the one on the bottom, which I looked, and it looks like I've got the exposure and everything right. So just to give you my settings, I'm going 1/160th of a second this time. I'm at f4 on this lens. Due to the depth of field, the way I like the depth of field. Now this sucker can go 1.2 and really get that shallow depth of field and get things going, but I like it at f4, and I'm at ISO 200 if you guys need to know. I also like shooting on a tripod. I'm on my trusty CT3472LV. This is the Mark II version. It's awesome. If you ever need a tripod and you want to make an investment, this is the one. I'm tethered into Capture One, so I'm using my tether cable from Tether Tools. I'm using an Arca Swiss PO ball, P1. I got the P1 ball head underneath here, which I love. I like having my hand on my ball head actually as I manipulate the camera around, and it's very smooth and works so well with this system. So that's my setup, guys. I can see that I'm shooting tethered. I see that I've got good exposure. I've actually got a great shot on the screen. I'll do a couple more just to see. Let's tilt your head. Let's go nose this way. We didn't do much nose that way. There you go, Brent. Now nose this way a little bit more. Follow my camera. Tilt the head this way a little. There you go. Hold that right there. Give me a hint of a smile. Good. Give me a look that's more beneficial for a headshot. No, beneficial. Don't make it worse. I mean, it's hard enough to get a good shot here. Come on. Hold that. Good, very nice. So guys, part of my thing is to make people laugh, so I say dumb stuff. But you need to create that rapport. Now, we've been hanging out. I've been shooting him a bit. He's pretty loose. A lot less apprehensive than when we first started, right? Yeah. Turn your body this way a little bit. There you go. Step a smidge that way. Turn the body even more. Now freeze the body and go nose back to me this way. Tilt the head this way. You do some creative cropping. Now, if you notice, sometimes you will see my lights in the frame. There is a program that my retoucher uses to just make them disappear from the frame. Nose this way a little bit. Nose that way a little bit. Do you know what it's called? Yeah, you do. That's nice. Give me a little bit of brow pressure. So right in here, yep. And the tiniest hint of a smile. That's great. Little more. There you go. Good. Perfect. Shabang. That's it. There you go, man. I love that shot. Looking good. And the color. Now we got color stuff going on, guys. We still have the ambient coming in, and I'm pretty low powered on these, so I don't think there's much effect there. However, we did trend red and magenta with the other light. With this light, things look really great, and that is the Peter Hurley Cineflex kit from Westcott that I designed this specifically for my work. It's also used for a lot of video stuff and stuff, but this is my staple. I travel all over the globe with my kit, and run around. When I travel with the travel kit. This is the studio kit, which comes with 2 1x3s and a 1x2. This is actually the Pro DMX kit. The new studio kit is less expensive than this kit actually, and it's the same configuration. 2 1x3s, 1 1x2 on the bottom. I do have hard diffusion panels on them, which I really like. And this is what I shoot for all my corporate jobs. I use this configuration. Now I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to go into what I would consider my men's lighting, or we're going to use the Flex kit to create a look similar to what we did before, but with my men's lighting. So maybe I won't do a kick 'em, but it is a key, a fill, and a kick. So we might put that in as a kick, but let's just do a key and a fill. So I'll key him. I'm gonna key him left. Let's key you left. I usually like my key on the left. Do you guys know why? 60% of human beings, according to my stats, are more attractive on their left side. However, I think you're a righty because there's a hair part theory too. So I shot about 40,000 people, I think, at this stage. I'm almost probably somewhere between 40 and 50,000 people. So I do use my, you know, my knowledge in that to come up with this cockamamie stuff. These ideas of mine. Nose towards this key. Yeah, let's try that. I think you look good on both sides, even though the hair part theory's in effect. Go nose that way. Yeah, you look good on both sides. Maybe I'll key you both ways. Let's try this though. We're gonna do a little bit of a fill and keep the key light where it is. Go nose toward the key, stay right there. I'm actually gonna do one light. We're gonna go back to using a little bit of natural light in here and a little bit of a kick. So let's try this. Jam that forehead out and down. There you go, good. Keep the brow pressure, tilt the head this way, nose back to me. You need that hint of the smile so you don't look like such a meanie. There you go, good, that's it, hold that. Let's try this. Now, I did open up a little bit because I only have one light and it looks very similar to the other shot. I can actually go 1/100th of a second. That's it, hold that. Keep that hint of the smile, work the nose toward that key light and tilt the top of your head towards the Statue of Liberty. It's the other way. You don't know where it is. There you go. 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 Good. All right. Good. Now we're getting some good stuff. And we have a very similar look to I actually did the one light like the Generay shot that we did. So it's very similar to what you see, and we can compare the two that way. I think we're pretty good, guys. I think Brent's got some good headshots that he can use for his LinkedIn or dating. No. Are you married?
Engaged.
He's engaged. He doesn't need him for the dating profile, but he could have had he needed that. He would have been good. But there's others. Whenever you guys get asked for a headshot, you should have one. You should have a good one. And actually, you guys should be taking them. So if you want to learn more about that, hit me up at the Headshot Crew. I'll teach you how to do this. This is a piece of cake. And I have a lot of photographers globally making a lot of money taking headshots. You should add it to what you're doing and add it to your repertoire. And you can do it with very minimal gear, as we've shown you today. The Canon M50s performed really well. The other light we had some color stuff with. The natural light was gorgeous. The Flex and the R5 is my move, and it just was phenomenal. All right, guys, so what I'm doing is, this is the first shot that I took of Brent, and I brought it in. It's from the M50. It looks really good on the screen. I shot it raw. It was a little underexposed for my first exposure, so I brought the exposure up over here to 0.75 in Lightroom, and then all I like to do, I don't like to overcook it. I know you guys are overcooking. First, you're shooting raw. You got to shoot raw, and then you want to work with white balance and tint, so temperature and tint. So my white balance, I put it at 5208, and I thought that looked pretty good. I brought the magenta back into it. I felt like it needed some. I feel like it could use a little bit more tweaking, but I wanted some more saturation out of it. So I went up to +16. And I think this is starting to look like where I want it. For a natural light headshot, really beautiful, easily, you know, the color rendition on the jacket and the clothing. I'm really concerned about skin with headshots, but everything looks good. I do everything by eye on a calibrated monitor. So this monitor, I just calibrated it like yesterday. And I usually use Capture One, but the M50 wasn't showing up in Capture One, so we used the files, the raw files. We brought them into Lightroom and they showed up. So that's probably a timing issue because the camera's new and Capture One will get to it. But I'm going to show you the EOS R5 in Capture One. So if we look at some of these other files, I'll do it from scratch. You can see that the setting on here is different. They came in, the raw file, Canon put a 50-50 on it on the temperature, plus 15 on the tint, and then everything else was zeroed out. I want you to keep stuff zeroed out. The minute that you start to fiddle with all these sliders, you're doing what I consider overcooking. So let's find a nice one that works. That one's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's great. I like that one a lot. Which one do you like better if we're going to work on one? That one? That one's cool, right?
Yeah, that one's cool.
That one's cool. Which one do you like better, that one or that one?
Let's do the first one.
Let's do this one. Okay, so we're looking at the file. He looks a little, he doesn't look as colorful in that shot as he is here. If you're working on color, you should work with the person that's in the room with you. He's here now. If he walked out the door, I'm guessing on what he looks like. But I've got natural light, I've got a window, I've got his skin, I can see everything. And I can see he's warmer right now than what this shot looks like. So I'm going to go for warmth first. I actually go for exposure first and then go for the color, because what's going to happen is the exposure is going to change the color dramatically. I think the exposure is pretty good. I'm looking at my numbers, RGB, and the histogram, which I don't even know what they do or read. I'm not one of those people. I'm not very technical. I built my whole career on pressing the button and getting the job done and doing it all on a calibrated monitor, looking at it with my eyes. So I don't know all the technical mojo stuff, but I'm extremely successful the way I do it, so I'm not messing with it. So I'm going to bring some warmth into it first, and then I'm going to look at so it's looking pretty warm, and now I feel like it looks green still. So I feel like we need more magenta. That's more like him. We're starting to get to his skin tone, but now it looks like I could expose it just a tiny smidge more, just to get those highlights to pop a little bit more, just barely. I don't want to overdo it. It's good to work on a raw file, guys, because you can do this. If you're not playing the game, if you're a professional, you work raw. You shoot raw, you work raw, you have more leeway with your files. 0.25 is, let me see, 0.25 was too much, so 0.2. Let's see that. That looks pretty good. That looks great to me. So now I feel like it looks like him. It's exposed properly. I've got some highlight in it. I see the highlights on the forehead and on the cheeks where I want them. But I don't think that's your color. I think as I look at it, I think the color balance looks good in terms of what I'm seeing on the jacket and according to the skin tone. But I want people to look like them on their best day. And I'm also looking at him now, and he's more saturated than this shot on my screen. So I will just crank saturation up until I see a problem. Now he looks super orange. That's a problem. He still looks too orange. So I'm going to find a happy medium. Now he looks colorful. I'm also looking at the red in the jacket. He looks colorful, but he looks too warm. He still looks orange. So I went too high on the color temperature. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. And now he looks a little bit magenta. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. And now it looks a little bit better, but I still want a little bit more pop of that. I'm looking at his lips, and I still think he's a little bit too warm, believe it or not, which is something in there looks more like it. I'm going to go a little bit less magenta. You got some yellowness coming in under the eyes. This is very fussy, guys. Like you move it a schmillimeter, and it makes a big difference. But that looks more like you when I'm looking at you. He trends red in his skin, so I don't need to take that away. Now I also know that if I see some color thing happening on here that I'm not quite sure of, I can go into Photoshop and tweak it, and that's what my retoucher does. So quality of the file looks amazing on this M50. Looks really good. I mean, I'm not getting separation of each like individual eyelash or pore as much as I will on the EOS R5, but I'm getting really good detail for entry level camera that has a lot of juice and can do a lot of stuff. I think that's a fantastic. Is that the best headshot that you've ever had?
Possibly, yes.
Well, we might take it a better one, but this is really, really good. I actually love that. And I think it'll run with whatever we're doing. So we're going to keep that there. We're going to look at the Generay ones and just see what we've got here and see if we can make those. Now you can see the color looks a little funny. Let's find a good one to work on. Let's do that one.
Okay.
That's too vacant. That's too big of a smile. I like that one. You got like a little murky, squinchy thing going on. Let's do this one though. I think this one's. I like that one. I like that. Let's do that one.
Okay.
Let's work on that one. I like this one, but I can see. So he's got some highlights that are flying out. I got that light as close to his skin as possible to get that to pop, but I think the highlights are too hot. So since it's a raw file, I've got some leeway here. I'm going to bring the exposure down just a touch, and that's going to bring some color into it. So as I bring it down a touch, I bring some color into it. Now I got some color, but it looks funky. I could see the difference between the daylight and the Generay. So I think I'm going to saturate it from here, and I'm not going to touch the color balance until I can figure out, because I'm going to use the color balance on his face. Actually, I'm going to warm him up a little bit. I think he can go a little bit warmer. That's better. And then maybe the exposure can come down just a schmillimeter. Guys, your exposure is super important. It's going to change the look of your shot. Now the overall thing is too warm and it's a little green, so we'll go a little bit magenta. Actually, we're going to saturate a little bit. These are the only things I really touch. I will take some redness out in a curve or something like that. I'm going to show you my workflow in Capture One so you see a little bit more in terms of what I do. I do have some presets there that I use, so it's obviously going to sing a little bit more. I'm also looking at that the white wall is gray, so if it's got a lot of green in it right now, and now it looks more gray to me. So I think what I'm going to do, because we couldn't adjust the color temperature of the Generay, is take that red out in isolated in Photoshop. So I'm going to leave it a little bit red. I'm going off the skin on the side. I'm going for a neutral background, which looks pretty good to me. I'm also in Adobe Color, which I could also try different. I like Adobe Standard too. It's a little flatter. So I'm going to go Adobe Standard on that in Lightroom. I mean, you can see if I bop through this, the subtleties of the difference. Portrait, Standard, Vivid is probably going to it gives it too much punch. I think the Standard's really nice. So I'm going to do something like that. And then I've made it Standard so I can actually saturate it a touch more. And it actually gave me, it helped me. It helped me make this look a little bit better. I still have to isolate some red and take it out. But we're going to go with that. So that's the way it's going to look. And that's what we got with the M50 and the Generay, which I actually like the natural light a little bit better. But the file looks great. The shot could be used. He's a little shiny because it's a little harsh because we didn't have much diffusion on that, even though I got him really super close to it. But, you know, looking at that, or where's the other one we worked on? This one, you know, I think it just gives you more of a, it's really crisp. The black point's really nice on it. It's beautiful. All right, let's go into Capture One. Let's look at Capture One. Let's look at the R5, and then we can compare a little bit. So I'm going to jump over here, and you can see here's the last shot I took at him, which is very similar lighting to what you saw on the other one. But as you can see, when I zoom into this, you've got a lot of frickin' detail. So it's a lot more detail. It's got a lot of juice in the digital file. He's got some redness in him. I actually want to look at this, and I put a little curve on it. So that's the way Canon, the Canon file came into the computer. You have to understand that there's a guy in Japan sitting there, and he decides the way the file should look for everybody to do it very well. But I'm a professional. I want to be in charge of that. So I want to shoot it raw so I can put my take on it. And the guy in Japan isn't sitting with you know, Brent next to him, right? So I'm going off his skin tone. And then there's an
a calibration of this that I use actually X-Rite, which is great. So you got to have your screen calibrate. You guys got to calibrate. So they have calibration that they say is one way or another. Then there's a guy in developing the Flex kit that says, okay, 5600 is this. There's a guy in Denmark that says, hey, the RSR5 is supposed to look like this. And then he's got his color calibration and stuff like that. None of it really is going to be uniform. So you have to do it by your eye on a calibrated monitor and do what you like. And that's the most important thing. So I really taught myself to do it. So I took this file from looking like that into something like this. Now there is still some red in the face. So let me just show you what I did. Let's look at the setting on this. So I did more than, I'm going to leave the exposure at 0. I'm at 4600. And I'm at negative 1.5 on the tint. I'm 25 on the saturation. There's nothing else on this thing. Let me look at the color wheels and see if I did any color. No, the color's all no color. And the only other thing that I know that I do in Capture One is I go to the red, and sometimes I'll pull it down. It looked like I pulled it down a little bit. Let's just get rid of this and let's look at it. I want to show you something. Let's get this before and after out of here. See how I just took the reds out. Look at his face. See how it just did that? Mm-hmm. That's too much. But let's do it a little bit. Take it out. And then I don't have to isolate it as much in Photoshop. And this is starting to look pretty darn good. And just a little bit of a dip there. And then I'd go into Photoshop and maybe get a little bit more out. You can see a little bit in his forehead and stuff. But the match on this is great. So something like that. And I'm actually going to go 4700, and I'm going to go -2 on the magenta. We're going to bring a little bit of green into it. And we're going to do something like that. And that is the way I would do it. And then my retoucher would go in and isolate the red from here in Photoshop. But I think that looks pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, that's great.
It's a pretty close rendition of what I'm seeing in real life. And I like that shot. So let's look at this. This is to match the one light that we did, the Flex kit against the Generay. So let's just put them next to each other so that you guys can get a sense of that. Something like that, and then we go like that. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, so here we go. We got both shots on the screen. The one in Capture One is the EOS R5. The one over here is the Generay with the M50. I mean, it's not a ridiculously huge, phenomenally crazy difference if your primary place for putting this is LinkedIn.
Yeah, basically.
Or wherever you're going to use it. You want it to be as juicy as possible, I'm sure, and as high res as possible. But on LinkedIn, you're going to get a pretty good look on either one of these. Mm-hmm. Right? Obviously, the light is much softer out of the Flex kit. The color's much more closer to your skin tone than the Generay, but you're talking about a much bigger expense in terms of the gear. You guys, I always bought gear as I made money as a professional photographer, and I invested back into myself. So you guys can do that. You can work with what you've got. Like, the natural light's free. You could start there. Like you saw the natural light shot looks amazing. You guys can do it, and you can do it at a very high level with Canon gear, and you can do it at a starter level with Canon gear. So don't be afraid to give it a shot. All right. You can always message me if you have any questions about your headshot photography. Hit me up on Instagram, Peter_Hurley.